the first one in my family to join AA, and we were just so inspired by this guy whom we thought was never going to live to be 25, you know. And he did. God love him. And he was a great inspiration, still is. And he began to work for the public television station in Dayton, Ohio. It's my hometown. And he just retired a few years ago from there, and he was happy as Larry, and he sings in the old church choir that we grew up in, and he has a family, and he just pulled his life together, and he's an enormously happy man, and enviably filled with joy, you know. And I just love seeing him. And one day, my wife Janet is an artist, received a scholarship to go and study out in New Mexico for a summer. One of the kids gave her this gift for her birthday, and she went out there. And I kind of spoiled the whole thing and blew her cover. I showed up after a while, and at any rate. And so one day she sent me down to the store to get some supplies for her class, you know, painting stuff. And I'm in the store, and a guy comes up to me and he says, "Are you a brother to John Estevez?" "I am," I said. He said, "He saved my life in Vietnam." I said. And I didn't know it. I didn't know that. John never talked about it. And he was commandeered for these medals. He never took them. He refused to sign on to getting a medal. And the guy said, "I haven't seen him since. Do you see?" I said, "I would." He said, "Please give him mine. I'm an artist now. I live here in New Mexico. Will you give him my number?" "I will," I said. And I did. And John said, "Oh, yeah, I remember. How's he doing?" I said, "He's fine." And he still wouldn't tell me what he did, you know. And he could never go to the memorial in Washington, you know, the Vietnam Memorial. Have any of you been there? Have you seen it? You know, it's really a grave. It's underground. If you walk toward it from the west, you don't see it. You could fall off if you keep going. It's underground. You know, you come around the side and you see it come together. Well, from your point of view, it'd be like this. Underground with all the names. That's very powerful. And he couldn't go. And I asked him, I said, "Why don't you go?" And he said, "Because I don't want my friends' deaths confirmed." I said, "John, you should go and celebrate them, you know." And years later, I was playing a guy a homeless advocate living in Washington. I said, "John, come up now." I said, "There's a service that will take you to there's a Vietnam Veterans organization that will, if you come to the wall, they'll escort you, because 2 guys committed suicide there. It's horrible. And so they didn't want that to happen again. They said, if you come to the wall and you're feeling edgy, we'll escort you. We'll get somebody from your unit or somebody who was in there when you were there." And he said, "Okay." He came up and he had this wonderful experience, and he put it in the past. And he did. He went along and felt them. You feel the names. That's what they do. You see them.
You feel them.
He did. Yeah, he lost about 47 friends. Can you imagine? Yeah.
At a later stage then, did you protest against the war? Because you're
I did, yeah.
a fairly active protester.
I did, yeah. When I became aware of what was really going on, you know. I remember John was doing a play on Broadway in 1964, and he came to visit me, and he was on his way to Vietnam, and he was all decked out in his dress blues, you know, his Marine dress blues. And we had a fight in a bar. He grabbed me. He was going to pummel me. He was on his way. And I said, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm on my way. Serve my country." I said, "You're a lunatic." You know, he came across the table at me. Yeah, good figure.
Would President Jed Bartlett have got out of Vietnam quicker?
He wouldn't have gotten in the first place.